we have the idea that morality is dependent upon the individual. And essentially one thing that's really interesting about this theory is it starts out with the observation of a lot of cultural relativists, or what we call cultural relativism. And that is what we call a descriptive theory. I'm going to talk about that here in just the next page really quickly. But the basic idea is it starts off with anthropologists making this observation that morality is that every society, if you look at it, if you go out into these tribal regions, you will find groups that are very unique morally. That some of the groups, for example, one of the ones that Ruth Benedict, is a well-known anthropologist, comes across is she came across a society in which paranoia is the norm. It's not abnormal to be paranoid. In fact, it is normal. It would be abnormal not to be paranoid, is what she finds. And so what she suggests that, even things as that seem as universal and seem, morally, that they're one way or the other, that there are other cultures that spin that on its head. And so we have to conclude that, morality, or that the cultural norms are in fact completely different from society to society. And the one she looks at is this group in which people are so paranoid that they don't trust anybody from a different group. But in order to do it, it's sort of this idea of keep your enemies closer. They will always marry somebody from the offending or opposite group. But because they're paranoid and think the person's going to try to kill them, they don't trust them, they won't eat the food their spouse cooks, they won't do anything, and they live their entire life in this very obscure paranoia, not eating food that's cooked by their spouse, not trusting their spouse, not doing anything, and just this complete paranoia, and yet they live together and raise a family together. And that is what is really weird about that one group. And so what she says, what we have this idea that even though you can have one group that is so much one way, you can have another group that is so much the other way, that we must conclude that really in the end, that what is right or wrong, what is good or bad, is really just the construction of the group. And it's the fact that these groups exist sort of alone that makes them the way they are.